The Darien Gap, a place where the paved arteries of civilization abruptly end, giving way to a realm of untamed wilderness. It is a 100-mile wide stretch of dense rainforest, swamps and mountains. This unforgiving terrain forms a natural barrier between Panama and Colombia. Torrential downpours transform the rainforest floor into a treacherous bog. Temperatures soar during the day, only to plummet in the cool mountain air at night. The air hangs heavy with humidity, a constant reminder of the challenges that lie ahead for those who dare to enter. The Darien Gap is not for the faint of heart. Its dense jungle canopy conceals a labyrinth of hidden dangers, from venomous snakes and jaguars to flash floods and impenetrable undergrowth. The terrain itself is a formidable obstacle, with steep ravines, fast-flowing rivers and treacherous swamps. It is a haven for criminal activity, with drug traffickers and armed groups operating with impunity. These dangers, both natural and man-made, have earned the Darien Gap a fearsome reputation as one of the most dangerous and impassable regions on Earth. The Darien Gap presents a formidable challenge for even the most seasoned explorers and adventurers. Its unforgiving terrain and unpredictable weather can quickly turn a journey into a fight for survival. Navigation is a constant struggle. The dense jungle canopy obscures the sun, making it difficult to determine direction. Trails are often overgrown and treacherous, disappearing into thick undergrowth or treacherous swamps. The lack of reliable maps and the ever-changing nature of the terrain make it easy to lose one's way. The region is plagued by lawlessness, with drug traffickers and armed groups operating with impunity. The combination of natural and man-made dangers has claimed the lives of countless individuals who have attempted to cross the Darien Gap. Stories of those who have dared to cross the Darien Gap are a mix of triumph and tragedy. Some have emerged from the jungle victorious, their spirits unbroken by the ordeal. Others have been forever changed by the experience, bearing the physical and emotional scars of their journey.
There are tales of adventurers seeking to conquer the unknown, pushing their limits in one of the world's last truly wild places. These modern-day explorers face the same challenges as their predecessors, relying on their wits, resilience, and a healthy dose of luck to survive.
Then there are the stories of migrants, driven by desperation to risk everything for a chance at a better life. Fleeing poverty, violence, or persecution, they embark on treacherous journeys through the Darien Gap, hoping to reach the United States or other destinations.
One such story is that of a young Venezuelan family who, in 2022, decided to make the perilous journey through the Darien Gap. They battled hunger, exhaustion, and the constant fear of wild animals and criminals. Amidst the dangers and uncertainties of the Darien Gap, the indigenous communities who call this region home serve as both guardians and guides. The Embera and Wunan peoples have lived in harmony with the rainforest for centuries, their lives intertwined with its rhythms and secrets. Their knowledge of the land, passed down through generations, is essential for navigating the Gap's treacherous terrain and surviving its many hazards.
These indigenous communities possess an intimate understanding of the rainforest's intricate web of life. They know which plants can heal and which can harm. They understand the behavior of the animals, from the elusive jaguar to the venomous snakes that slither through the undergrowth.
For those daring to cross the Darien Gap, the indigenous guides are invaluable allies. However, the indigenous communities of the Darien Gap are facing their own set of challenges. Section 5, Nature's Untamed Beauty. Beneath the shroud of danger and uncertainty, the Darien Gap harbors a world of extraordinary beauty and biodiversity. It is a place where nature's raw power is on full display, where life teems in every nook and cranny of the rainforest. The sheer diversity of life within the Darien Gap is staggering. Towering trees, some reaching heights of over 200 feet, form a dense canopy that filters the sunlight, creating a cathedral-like atmosphere below. Vines as thick as a man's arm snake their way up tree trunks, while orchids and bromeliads add splashes of color to the verdant landscape. The rainforest floor is alive with the sounds of insects and the calls of exotic birds. Monkeys swing through the trees, their playful chatter echoing through the jungle. jaguars, pumas and ocelots stalk their prey in the shadows, while tapirs and peccaries forage for food on the forest floor. Despite the dangers, the Darien Gap remains a beacon for biologists, conservationists and nature enthusiasts from around the world. Section 6. A humanitarian crisis. In recent years, the Darien Gap has witnessed a surge in migrant crossings, transforming this remote jungle corridor into the epicenter of a growing humanitarian crisis. Driven by poverty, violence, and the dream of a better life, thousands of migrants from around the world are risking their lives to make the perilous journey through this unforgiving terrain. Economic hardship, political instability, and gang violence in countries like Haiti, Venezuela, and Cuba have forced countless individuals to flee their homes in search of safety and opportunity. The Darien Gap, despite its dangers, has become a transit point for those seeking to reach North America or other destinations. The journey through the Gap is fraught with danger for these vulnerable populations. They often lack proper food, water and medical supplies, making them susceptible to dehydration, starvation and diseases. Many fall victim to the treacherous terrain, succumbing to exhaustion, injuries, or drowning in swollen rivers. The presence of armed groups and criminal elements within the Darien Gap exacerbates the risks faced by migrants. They are often robbed, extorted, or subjected to violence. Women and children are particularly vulnerable, facing the threat of sexual assault and trafficking. The humanitarian crisis in the Darien Gap demands a coordinated response from the international community. Section 7. To bridge or not to bridge. The question of whether to build a road through the Darien Gap has been a subject of debate for decades, with passionate arguments both for and against such a project.
Proponents argue that a road would bring economic development to the region, connecting isolated communities and facilitating trade between Panama and Colombia. They envision a modern highway, complete with bridges and tunnels, that would finally close the gap in the Pan-American highway, fulfilling a long-held dream of connecting the Americas by road.
However, opponents of the road project, including environmentalists, indigenous rights groups, and many local communities, argue that the environmental and social costs of such an undertaking would be too high. They fear that a road would open the floodgates to deforestation, habitat fragmentation, and the loss of biodiversity in one of the world's most important ecological treasures. Concerns have also been raised about the potential impact on indigenous communities. Critics argue that a road would bring an influx of outsiders, disrupting their traditional way of life, eroding their cultural identity, and increasing pressure on their ancestral lands. Section 8. The Enduring Enigma. The Darien Gap, a place where the hand of man has yet to fully tame the wild spirit of nature, remains an enduring enigma. It is a land of stark contrasts, where beauty and danger coexist, where ancient cultures clash with modern pressures, and where the very essence of human resilience is tested. The Gap stands as a stark reminder of the power of nature to resist human encroachment. Its dense jungles, treacherous swamps, and unforgiving terrain serve as a formidable barrier, testing the limits of human endurance and challenging our notions of progress. As we grapple with the challenges of climate change, biodiversity loss, and the displacement of indigenous communities, the Darien Gap serves as a critical reminder of the importance of preserving our planet's last wild places. The future of the Darien Gap remains uncertain, but one thing is certain. The Darien Gap will continue to captivate our imaginations, challenge our assumptions, and remind us of the importance of preserving the wild places that make our planet so unique.